What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby here. I am now a Deck Out Gaming affiliate. Use Joe Dobbs Deck Out at checkout. Deck Out Gaming has tons of singles for Pokemon, Dragon Ball Super, and Digimon TCG, as well as One Piece. They now buy list as well, so don't hesitate to reach out, and they got your back. Really high customer service ratings. Thank you guys, and yeah, let's get to the video. What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby here, and I am joined by a member of the Digimon TCG community, Big Chill. He's also got a YouTube channel, so I'll put the link in the description below. But Natural Born Deck Builder says he's built about over 80 decks, each with, you know, a multiplier of variations of these decks. But there was one deck that definitely caught my eye. It was the Malomyotismon Beelzemon collab, so to speak. And yeah, I'll hand it over to Big Chill to kind of introduce himself before he gets into the rest of the deck. So take it away.
Hey, what's up, guys? Name's Big Chill here, obviously. Yeah, like Job obviously said, I'm just a deck creator at heart. I love, no matter what TCG I play, I love the creating decks. Like in Yu-Gi-Oh, I think I've built like maybe close to like 600-700. It's just so much fun, no matter what game I'm playing. It's just so much fun to play. But yeah, I run YouTube and Twitch channel. You can find me at Big Chill 10 on both of them. I got a few videos up for Digimon on my YouTube channel. I got one deck profile for Regale Koos, because he's also a really sick Digimon. Got all the combos and everything in there if you guys want to check that out. But to dive into the meat and potatoes of the deck that Joe Dobby really wanted to see.
Yes.
It is a Beelzemon engine used for Malomyotismon, because Malomyotismon has always been too slow to basically get going. But with the Beelzemon support, like I was telling Joe Dobby, it is a really great support for any deck that just needs to Seth mill. So you can like use it in Creepymon if you wanted to as well. You can use it in like Chaos Gallant, or even though Chaos Gallant and Crest Guru don't really need to make mill, but they actually help getting to level 3s and trash to be able to play it out from their effects as well.
Yes.
So just to dive into it here, to start us off, we have one Psychmon just for the matchups of Crossheart and to deal with what's his name, Death X, because Death X can sometimes be problematic, because you can kind of swarm the board, and if you don't end up killing before they are able to pull off a Death X, he is really good to just drop on board. And if you run into a Mother D Reaper, God forbid, you can just slam that down. And then next here we have these backwards cards are going to be EX2 Impmons.
Nice.
I had to proxy them this way because I didn't have the deck. But this is perfect, because before I was running just 2 Gazi, 2 Psychs, but it wasn't really working out because I wasn't able to get the mills fast enough to see the Malomyotismon's effect. So that's why we end up taking a couple of them out. Next, obviously we already know the Impmon from, what is this called? BT2, can't remember. This is just perfect because you can either Digivolve this and you know, swing, and if it doesn't die, that's not too big of a problem for the deck because you have the Witchmon, and then you can obviously kill in other different ways if you run it. But I do think it's really good because you can pull it from the trash with some other effects, which is really nice. And I think that is, yeah, this should be the last level 3s here, which is the Gobble, which allows you to draw and trash. If you're not seeing the Impmons, which I've had cases where I wasn't able to see the Impmon, but I do see this, I'll just Digivolve this in Raising, and then just wait a second, play a Tamer or 2, and then promote this and go on top of it with a Witchmon or something, which is perfectly fine as well, because you get another trash. But it's also really good to find this guy, because if you have an Impmon but you don't want to Digivolve it in Raising, you can just Digivolve the Gobble, drop the Impmon, and then Digivolve, promote next turn, Gobble goes into a Witch, and then boom, you're in business for like 6 mills in 1 turn.
That's pretty good.
That'll do it for the level 4s, which is, I think this is the perfect line of level 4s, to be honest. You might be able to change the Psychmon out, or maybe like 1 Gobble out for a Gazi, but I don't think the Gazi is really too needed this format. Obviously, if you deal with another Beelzemon, you have your own mills to kind of counteract what they're doing anyway, so you're fine.
Yes.
But for the level 4s here, we have 3 Soulmons, which you are doing a lot of mills, so this is perfect. You're milling off, for the Soulmon's effect, you're milling off the BT8 Malomyotismon, and then the I think he's also BT8. The new Malomyotismon is also BT8. So the level 5 Myotis and the Malomyotis both allow you to. So the
Yeah,
combo is really neat. So that's all that is. I'll talk more about that later because I've
for
had
sure.
some really crazy plays with that one.
Wizardmon, am I not?
Yep.
Am I right? Yep.
Yeah, the classic is Wizardmon. You already know this is basically a staple.
Yes.
Same thing with Witch. Witch is a staple. I do run Witch at 3 and Wizard at
Oh,
4,
okay.
just because you kind of don't want to mill too much or too fast,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had cases where I milled too much way too quickly and I just lost the game.
Oh,
So
okay.
you want to kind of like control and pace how much you're milling. And I think that is the perfect ratio as far as level 4s go, because they
Understood.
all work in tandem. And even if you're not seeing something like you can swing the Myotismon into like a Digimon and it lives the level 5, and then you can like use the effect of Wizardmon to place something on top, so that way when you go into the Mallow you can trash something
Yeah.
while also placing something. Like you can get basically a 2 place to the top off of
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Wizard plus was Ayamako.
Yeah.
And so level 5s, I think this level 5 is interchangeable, to be honest, in my opinion. I just run for the BT2 Myotismons because it digivolves for 2.
Yes.
And I think that's really cheap and it's really good, just in case you're not, obviously seeing something. If you want to keep turn and still be able to go into your Malomyotis for free, or whatever the case may be, I think that is very perfect. And a lot of times you can choke your opponent at 2 by going into a Witch and then going into a Myotis,
Mm-hmm.
BT2 Myotis. So I think he can be switched out, in my opinion, with the one from EX1 that gives retaliation as an
Mm-hmm.
inheritable, and it cheapens your next evolution into a Myotismon, which is also really good too. So I think that's it's up to personal preference, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I like both of them, so I would change both of them out depending on how I'm feeling in that particular day or something like that. So next up, we have 4 Myotismon from BT8. This is level 5. Obviously, he's your guy.
Yeah, the
He's
main
perfect for the
guy.
Myotismon engine.
Mm-hmm.
Digivolves for 3. He can play Yukio from trash, which you love that. And then his inheritable is, in my opinion, I think it's amazing. You can just play one from hand or trash suspended and not have to worry about having to see, them seeing a Myotismon die.
Yeah, because then it
I'm
just
gonna,
sets up the Mallow for the next turn.
yep, I'm gonna
Yeah,
switch these two around right quick because you guys are gonna see the tech I have for
for
the
sure.
deck. Then we have 3 regular Malomyotis and 1 alt. I pulled the art from the box, so don't even worry about that. I'll get
Nice.
the alt arts later on.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is again your meat and potatoes here. You're perfect. He mills top 5. He gains a memory, and then like I said, off the combo, the Soulmon will also gain you another memory. So that's an
Mm-hmm.
easy gain 2. Plus
Mm-hmm.
Imako 3. You can make him a 1 cost instead of a 4. It's perfect, to be
Very
honest.
nice. Yeah.
And then the tech card, in my opinion, I think it's a tech because you can run this guy or you can run the other Malomyotis. I run 2 of the Venom Myotis from BT2 that gives Sec +1, and in opponent's turn, you can, if they suspend a Digimon,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's by attack or effect, you
Mm-hmm.
gain 1 memory. I think it's perfect because in situations where you're not seeing the Mallow or not getting the good enough mills, you can put pressure on your opponent by swinging 2 checks at 12, or you can even just let them sit there and pass turn, and just every time they suspend, if you're going against Bloom, that's just a constant 1 memory they have to pay, and it makes them think about their turn differently and gives
Yeah.
them way less plays because they're not
Yep.
able to kill your Myotismon before you go into anything else you need. And then
Yeah.
obviously for last Digimon in the deck, I believe we have 2 of the
Nice.
blast modes because the blast mode for game, you don't have to worry about hybrids anymore. I
Exactly.
think that's brilliant because you can always find this guy and you can grab him out of trash. And then I think next up we're going to talk about the Tamers,
Yeah.
which we have the Yukios. He's your guy. Obviously, you have to have Yukios or else you won't be able to make the deck run. But if he sees a Myosmon die, he gains you 1. Tap him, gain a memory, and then he plays out a Myosmon at the end of your opponent's turn for free by deleting himself if he's suspended. It's a beautiful card.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know I'm probably crazy for doing this, but I only run 2 Ayamakos because sometimes you play it and you just don't find anything. But the nice thing
Oh,
about
okay.
Ayamakos is because your Malomyotis are Demon Lord, it can grab a Malomyotis from your top searches and stuff like that.
That's pretty
But
good.
I just don't like having too many of them because you don't want to send a lot of your crucial pieces that need to be milled to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna want to only run 2, in my opinion. I think that's the perfect. And then after that, that's all the Tamers. So what we got left is the options. I run 3 of the Rivals Barrage or Warning Shots, whatever you want to call them. You know them, you love them, I love them.
I love
They're perfect.
Rivals Brush.
Yeah, same. It grabs a Tamer or a
Yeah.
Tamer or a Digimon. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect, to be honest. Because I've had times where I milled an Ayamako and I'm like, I actually kind of need that. So we grab it, drop it, and then Digivolve, and then do the mill. It's brilliant.
Yeah. It's like a
Then after
Doberman,
that-
but you don't lose the stack for it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Love it. And then we got, for the last option cards in the deck, we have Death Slinger, obviously. It's the perfect card, mill, gain a memory, or pop something if you have, And then obviously we run the 4 Demi-Meras because draw one, trash one is just always nice,
Mm-hmm.
You got pieces in your hand you don't need in the hand, you just end up trashing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that is the deck. Real quick, I will go over like your tech choices. Like I said, these BT2
Sure.
Malomyotismons, I Digivolve for 2. You can go with the EX1.
Yeah.
And then I want to say, like, I feel like the gobbles can be changed out if you wanted to for the when attacking, draw one, trash one, so that way you can like make sure you're always cycling the pieces. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't know if there's really too many techs. You could take the Venom out for the Mallow, but when I was testing the Mallow, it just didn't feel good because it's a Digivolve for 5, and it has to see Digimon die for you to be able to get that memory back. So I kind of didn't like it, but it is something you can do to make sure you always get a Mallow out from the Yukio's effect, even if you aren't seeing these ones in trash. Because I've had times where I've had like 5 of them in trash, but I didn't see a Mallow, so it's just like, or the Mallows were in hand and I couldn't get them out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, you know what I mean? But other than that, I think everything else is in perfect. I think it's a perfect spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I really like some of the choices that you've made here, in particular in the inclusion of the EX2 Impmon just to turbo out your mills, and the keeping the Gabumon that's draw 2 trash 1 still as part of the build instead of going on full mill, just so you have some ability to draw into cards that you might need, because without Rivals Barrage, if you're running it at 4 or 3, it should be fine. But without Rivals Barrage, I can see it being very difficult to cycle things that you need, like Myotismon in particular, or a level 4, just so you can trigger Yukio. I really like the blast mode here. I think paired with Venomyotismon is amazing. Because you can get those last 2 hits in and then swing for game with the blast mode if you have the 20 cards in trash, which I think is very doable very quickly in this deck as well. So walk me through the decision of doing the 2 cost versus the EX1. In my initial build, I did like a 2-2 split where I would be doing the 2 cost because I do see a lot of value in it. But at the same time, I also wanted the EX1 Myotismon just so I can, reduce the cost by 1. Ultimately, it's generally the same. But in turns where like there's a passing of 1 memory and you want to give back a certain amount of memory, for example, in your testing, I know you said it was interchangeable, but in your personal preference, was the 2 cost Myotismon just ultimately better than the EX1?
Yes, because I've had a lot of games where neither one of us had a Tamer. Obviously, we don't have a memory tamer. You can't have one. But my opponent didn't have their memory tamer out, and they were already choking me to 1. So like a Wizardmon Soulmon into choking me to 1 2, but a Wizardmon Soulmon which into the the BT2 Malomyotismon for 2, just to choke him at 1 was just perfect, or choke him at 2 was just perfect. And it actually won me quite a bit of games because of that. And then I also feel like the fact that it digivolves for 2, it allows you to still be able to go into a Myotismon and keep turn.
Yeah.
Because like you'll be at 3, you digivolve for 2, go to 1, digivolve this guy for 4, put him at 3. Ayamako, gain a memory. Soulmon will gain you another 1, putting you to 1. He'll gain you 1, putting you to 0. And then after the 5 mills, if you hit like Death Slinger, Wizardmon,
you're gaining more. Yeah.
You're gaining more. I've had a turn where I hit double 1 Death Slinger and double Wizard, put me to 3, and I was able to keep turn, swing, and facilitate plays after that. Because I dropped the dropped the EX1 Imp, not EX1, but B22 Impmon, and then went to
Mm-hmm.
another Witch to mill some more. And then like after that, I kind of like set up turn for game, because if you got rid of the Myotis, they lose because the Tamer triggers. I had 3 of them out. It passes turn, or they leave the take care of the Imp. The Witchmon, and then they leave the Myotis, but he swings that last check, and then I can just go blast mode for game, because for some odd reason, every game I've had a blast mode in hand, ready to go for game.
We take those.
Don't know how, but yeah.
Okay.
So I do definitely think it's way better.
Perfect. Next, I wanted to dive into like why Yammon was kind of like not included in your egg list, because the way I see it is if you include Yammon, sometimes you can actually combo that off with the Wizard and the Myotismon, like the Wizardmon inheritable and the Myotismon. So then you can actually dictate, like if you're clogged with Myotismon Mallows in your hand, for example, and you need that one in trash, you could potentially throw it with the Wizard, and then Yammon has the Force drop. But they might actually not have the same traits, if I'm not mistaken. I think oh no, you can't trigger it because Myotismon is undead and Yammon is wizard, evil, or demon lord, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So we've clarified that. Whoops.
No, it's all good. It's all
Okay.
good. 'Cause I had to say that was my first thought too. While deck building, I was like, Yammon would be perfect. Then I looked at the Myotis, I was like, yeah, he's undead.
Okay. All right. So we answered our own question. Very good. So based on your experience, what are the decks that you faced, and how are the results?
Faced Mastemon, which
Nice.
is very interesting because they both want stuff in trash, and they kind of play more stuff out of trash than you. But it seems like if you can, for the matchup, in my opinion, it seems like if you can get your stuff in trash first, you kind of just win game at that point, because there's not much they can do. You can pop a lot of their stuff on board. You always got a Malomyotismon you can drop, Malomyotismon you can drop. But I lost those games. First game I lost to just not being able to mill, because the hand was really funky both times. Even with the new mill system, the hand was both funky. But the second game I actually lost because I over milled myself.
Oh no!
And they were able to recover. And upon them recovering, I just didn't have any more gas. I was about like 5 cards left. They recovered up to 3 by the end of their turn, because they passed the turn with the Angemon recover, and I was like, okay, cool. And I looked at my deck and I was like, wow, I can't do anything, because I had no Digimon. They popped the Digimon on board, and then I had one in Raising. I had the Digivolve one in Raising. I was like, man, I can't do anything after that. And I didn't have anything to drop, and if I did, they would obviously pop it with no problem. So you're like at a weird state where, like, the Mastemon matchup, you have to pace yourself and watch what they're doing, because if you don't, you just lose for free.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the biggest skill checks when you're playing like a deck that like deck destruction, when you're destroying your own deck, trashing your own deck to get a win condition, right? It's just when to put your foot on the pedal and when to pull back. So that's always a good reminder for players. Is there any meta matchup that you've faced, and kind of like what were the results of that?
Black War Gray.
Oh.
I faced Black War Gray.
Okay. Yeah.
And it actually went a lot better than I thought it would.
Okay.
I thought it would, because...
Do tell.
So, obviously... Okay, this is the other tech I actually forgot, by the way, guys. You can put in at least 1 to 2 Mummymons if you wanted to. Cut the BT2. Because the Mummymon, when he swings, he pays 3 to play a Myotismon Malomyotis from trash and kill himself, right? So... you play the Mallow and you get his effect off the Mummymon to pop their Digimon. Obviously, they have they have effects to stop it. But then if you have a Death Slinger in hand, that's just perfect, because you just Death Slinger the guy away or whatever, right? But you always still get rid of that one security, whether the guy dies or not, which is perfect.
Yes.
So, I think that's what you need, because in that matchup, I think I won 2-1. Just barely. But the first game, I lost literally because he popped my Tamers consistently. And I didn't have the Mummymon to play out the Mallow from trash.
To do it anyway.
So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So I think you would probably want one. I feel like you could probably take one guy out for a Mummymon. I think that'll be perfect because obviously you can grab him back with
Yeah.
the barrage.
That
But
way
yeah,
you,
that
yeah,
matchup is actually really not bad. As not as bad as I thought it was. Maybe it's
that's
because they
good.
don't got the Greymon X like that anymore. So they have to digivolve the Metal Gray for free. And if they de-digivolve your guy down to a level, the Impmon, you're perfectly fine because they de-digivolve it, kill it, mill, and then you can just gain memory and pass turn or whatever.
Yeah, so that's
So
not too bad either. That's why like
yeah,
that Witchmon into Impmon is such a good kind of like combo evolution in the Black War Gray matchup because
yes,
you know you don't even have to swing with the Imp. You can just go into Witch and then if you're anticipating and then do something else. And then if you're
yeah,
anticipating that War Greymon Evo, and then if they do that and they don't realize what they're doing, then they've allowed you to mill 6 over the course of one turn per player, right? Which is very very good. So I guess one more question. What are 3 key pieces of advice when piloting this deck, kind of like before we round out and end the video?
okay. So one, be conscious of your starting hand, right? Because you can make just about I would say about like 75% of the time you can make the starting hand work. I've had starting hands where I had this guy into like a Soulmon, and then I get like the level 3s or whatever, the level 5s I need or whatever. So like you can make anything work. And even if you don't see your mill guys and you have a Mallow in hand, you're fine because the Mallow is going to facilitate the mills for you with no problem. So I would say be conscious of your starting hand. Do not look at one that doesn't have any cards at mill and be like, okay, I can't use it because you might just shuffle back into a way worse hand. Trust me, I've done it before.
Yeah.
That's why when I play, I always just play with certain hands and see just so I can test and see what works out. Secondly, I would say be conscious of the matchup you're playing and how much you want to mill and how much you need to mill. They are 2 very different things. You can want to mill all you want, but you gotta ask yourself, do I need to mill here?
Yes.
Because if you're in early stage of the game, you haven't milled anything yet, your trash is empty, you are going to want to mill at least with Witch and then the level 5 in Mallow. Maybe it'll be something like that, right? Obviously,
Yeah.
you won't get it in one turn, but if you can keep your bodies alive, you can get it the next turn.
Yeah.
That is brilliant. And always keep a track of how much you have in hand and how much you have, not in hand, but the trash in deck, because you mill a lot, obviously. So if you don't pay attention to that, you can just mill yourself out of the game in various different ways. And then lastly, I would say just have fun. Because at the end of the day, if you're not having fun, what's the point of playing,
Absolutely. And we understand that, playing rogue decks, fun is the top priority. It just happens to be that, if we end up beating a meta deck, it's just that much more fun, right?
Yes.
But we have to remember that it was fun to begin with. Just the process of building and playing a deck that you love with Digimon that you like is a journey that should be enjoyable in itself. And then if you happen to beat the meta deck, hey, that's bragging rights right there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right.
If you happen to make top 8 with it, that's even more bragging rights.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so guys, I just want to say that I hope you enjoyed this deck profile by Big Chill. Once again, I will put the link to his YouTube on the description box below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And Big Chill, anything else?
No, that is pretty much it. If you do play this, please let me know in in the comments, or in Joe Dobby's Discord. He has a Discord. You guys should join it.
Yes.
He'll probably make sure you put a link down there for that too. Let me know what version of the build you play and how much you enjoy it, or just even if you have your own tech choices you would use, just let me know. I'm open to try anything. And thank you guys for watching. It's been a blast. My first time doing like a deck profile for somebody else. It's been fun.
Yeah, and honestly, guys, Big Chill has been in the Joe Dobby kind of like Discord and been hanging out on the streams for some time now, and He's recognized to be one of the people that are consistently on the Decklist Seasonings channel, posting some very interesting lists that I'm sure a lot of people would be very interested in. So let me know in the comments below if you want to see more of Big Chill. You know, I would love to continue these Rogue Deck kind of like interviews if this is something that you like with other creators as well. But that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a good night and peace. Bye.
Be breezy.